Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another live stream. And last night, didn't even think it was possible, but Chelsea plunged to new lows with a fifth defeat in a row under Frank Lampard, a 2-0 loss to Brentford, stung by the bees at Stamford Bridge. And I'll be honest, I think this could be the worst of the lot. This was abject. It was pathetic, dismal, criminal lineup from Lampard. We struggle to score goals as it is. Yeah, we filled a team with one attacker, with Raheem Sterling as the main goal scoring threat, supported by Gallagher and Kante. I don't know what we expected, but there was absolutely nothing. There was no ideas. There was no tactics. It was just vibes with no end product, as it normally is. And I don't really know where we go from here now. This was really a really tough watch last night. There's a real flat field around Stamford Bridge before the game. A lot of empty seats. I think a lot of people have just had enough now for this season. And yeah, this was shocking. I mean, I say I can't believe how bad it was, but I can. I've just got used to it. And every time you think it can't get worse, these guys plunge new depths for us. And yeah, I don't know what we do from here. You know, Lampard's come in. We know he's not a good manager, but you know, he's got nothing. There's been nothing he's done nothing since he's come in to make any sort of improvement at all. You know, I'm not asking for miracles. None of us are asking for miracles, you know, but at the same time, just improvements on the basics. There's no tactics. There's no identity. There's no one knows what we're trying to do. We're just vibing and nothing's working at all. And it's not all his fault, of course not. It's come into a massive mess. He's obviously he's come out to he's come to help the club that he loves. He's obviously trying to enhance his own reputation as well. I think that couldn't be any lower now in terms of Lampard's managerial reputation. It's in the gutter. He's going to struggle to bounce back from this as well, certainly at the top level for the time being. But yeah, an absolute disaster class last night. And the worst thing is that everyone knew we were losing that game before it even happened, and it was just reconfirmed to us by the team sheet. So yeah, a real tough one to take. And not angry, not disappointed, just let down with the whole thing. You know, it's just been let down after let down, week after week, game after game. And you know, the guys say, oh, you know, these Lampard says, oh, you know, we try that. These are young lads. They want to do well. Blah blah blah. I don't want to hear the chat anymore. Yeah, you talk well. Yeah, you say the right things. I want to see tangible improvements on the pitch. That's what you're there for. And there's been absolutely none of that. So I don't know where we go from here. Lampard. I mean, I did call for Lampard out last night. I'll be honest, and you know, might have been a bit of a hot-headed take in the aftermath, but I still stand by it. You know, he's not going to go. Of course, he's not. But he's not improved anything at all. And you could almost argue that the 5 games he's been in charge since he replaced Potter has actually been worse. So yeah, that's where. Yeah, Dharmesh, thanks for coming as always, bro. Your thoughts on last night? Like myself, and I didn't think we could get any lower, but we did. And the worst thing is, there's probably worse lows to come in the remaining fixtures as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, big up the chat. Big up yourself as well, Charlie. Like the video, sub to Charlie's channel as well. Yeah, honestly, bro, you summed it all up, to be honest. In that sort of like short segment that you gave at the start, your intro and stuff, like I've no words anymore for this season and the performances, because when you're fielding a lineup like that, like, how do you expect to even score goals? Like, you expect at least clean sheets with that sort of lineup. With like, the one thing you can say is, like, with that lineup, like, I don't know if Lampard's playing for 0-0s every game with those sort of lineups. We're playing one out-and-out attacker, which is Raheem Sterling, and you'd think that we'd at least get a 0-0 draw with having bloody like I don't even know, man. Like six defenders and like 4 midfielders and 1 attacker only. You think we're going for a 0-0, but end up conceding 2 yesterday to our local rivals Brentford as well, and they were taking the piss yesterday, singing Chelsea get battered everywhere they go and all that. Yeah, like you said, I didn't expect us to even fall even lower than we did when Potter was in charge, and here we are. We're even worse under Lampard, and it's not even like, even rival fans are not even laughing at us anymore. That's how bad it's really got, and I honestly can't remember any so-called top 6 team having a season as bad as we have this season. I don't know if you remember yourself, Charlie, if the chat remembers anyone who's been as bad as this, sat in 11th in April stuck on 39 points.
Even when United were in there, they're not out of the banter era fully, but they seem to be showing signs of recovery under Ten Hag. Like, even when things were really bad under Ole, they were still like 5th, 6th, or 7th, or whatever it was. Like, they didn't drop into the bottom half of the table. Like, this is a spectacular implosion, mate. This is like, I can't put my finger on it, because it's not just one thing. And this is what people need to realize, like, you can look at it and everyone likes to have a scapegoat. Everyone likes to have someone to blame. Oh, it's this one thing. That's the sole reason why we're so shit. It's like, it's a culmination of things, It's the fact that the squad is way too big. And that's partly on the owners for bringing in so many players mid-season. And then we're trying to get that all to fit together. It's partly on the fact that we've got players as well that don't want to be here. And this is not this. All these problems aren't on the new owners. Like, a lot of this, and people will be like, why are you slagging off Roman? But like, I'll be honest, towards the end of Roman, the last few years, mate, the recruitment was shocking under him, so bad. You could argue from when we last won the league in 2017, the recruitment has been dreadful since then. Absolutely shocking. And that's part of the reason why we're in the massive mess that we are, is because we've not bought when we've needed to. We've bought really poorly, and we've neglected areas that have needed improving for years. And then suddenly we've been in a situation where we've had to go and buy 7 or 8 players in January to try and fix the mess that we're in. Whereas if we'd actually recruited properly, added 1 or 2 here or there every summer, then we would be in a much better position. So this is not all to blame on the new owners. Yes, they've got to take responsibility, but this goes back to the previous regime as well for leaving us in a mess, quite frankly. Yes, the mess has got worse, and Bowley, probably the worst thing that he did was not have a sporting department in place before sacking Tuchel. That would have made things a lot easier. It's easy to look back now and say Potter was the wrong appointment. I think the consensus was that it wasn't exactly exciting, but he had a very good reputation. And I think a lot of people were happy to see a young English manager being given a chance at a top club, because you don't see it. But who's made that decision? Who's advising Todd Boehly on that? Because Todd's obviously a smart businessman. Of course he is, to get to the level of success that he's had. But you can't tell me he knows who Graham Potter is. Like, no chance. So who's telling him that? Who's advising him to do
Barley,
that?
maybe.
But I'm not really sure. That's one of the big errors. Was that timing of decisions has been poor as well. You look back at the summer recruitment. Let's be real about it. We were all gassed about it, excited. The only one that's actually looks like it's going to be a decent signing so far is Fofana. The rest of that summer recruitment that we all got gassed for has been shit. And it's early to write off. I'm not chucking these guys all under the bus after not even a full season yet. But when you look back and you think, actually, we were blinded by the names, as it were, and it's not actually, those guys haven't really done particularly well. So it's not one issue. It's a culmination of things, and I think they've just all landed on us at once this season. They've been building up. It's like when you're taking Jenga blocks out and like it's that tower's wobbling, and it just all falls down at once. We've been taking liberties and getting away with it for too long, and eventually it's going to catch up with you. And this season it's catching up with us big time. And I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what we can do in these next 6 games.
Just to add as well, bro, I think what you mentioned about the previous ownership as well, I think that's the main reason why we haven't had, I think, sustained success as well, because every time we sort of won the league, we always lose it the next season. Look back to sort of going back, say, 2010.
Jose's first spell, mate. Sorry, was the only time I think we back-to-backed it. Otherwise, we took a few years off, got one, few years off, got one. And as you say, when you're changing managers every 18 months, and like you've got a pick and mix squad, it's really hard to build any consistency. And yes, you can argue at that time it was different because that Chelsea was ready to win, and if you brought in a good manager that knew how to win, chances are you could win the league with us, as was demonstrated by Ancelotti, as was demonstrated by Conte. But the Premier League is now so much stronger. It's not just the kind of a 1 or 2 horse race. It was always Chelsea, Man United, or Chelsea, Arsenal when Jose first came back in 2004. Now you've got a situation where the Premier League is so strong. And like you could argue, mate, that that even the top 10 sides, even including your Brentfords, your Brightons, etc. Like there's so much strength and depth in the Premier League that you can't get away with doing that anymore.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like even those so-called teams like Brentford, Villa, Newcastle as well, they've all improved and they've all got these sort of quality players where you didn't see back then. Like back then, it was literally just the top 4 took sort of every good player from every sort of small club. But now more and more these big players are going to these so-called smaller or lower clubs, and it's just it's the point I go back to sustained success. Like we've never ever sort of repeated that success like season after season. It's always been we've won the league, then Manchester United win the league, then we win the league again, then Man City win the league, then it's just it's to be honest, it's just a reoccurrence that's happened under the previous ownership, and obviously this season as well. It's just a culmination of errors, man, from day one. Like you said, with the summer signings, like initially I was gassed with the signings because I thought Todd Boehly pulled it out the bag with those sort of name signings that you say. Like even I was blinded by the names that we signed, like Raheem Sterling, Koulibaly, Aubameyang, experienced Premier League players as well, Premier League / Serie A players, and bringing Marc Cucurella, who had a good season as well. Like it was all looking like somewhat salvageable, with obviously not signing Koundé and obviously missing out on Rafinha and other sort of targets as well that we were going for. But yeah, and then obviously the January transfer window, we all got gassed again, which is understandable as well. When you sort of buy new players, you expect things to change. But when Graham Potter and Frank Lampard are not even playing these kind of players, like they're not even playing Mudryk, for example, Madueke, they're not even getting into the team anymore.
Bro, this is my biggest thing, mate, is that after Madrid, there's nothing to play for now. We flopped against Madrid as we expected, but that was all. That's all we were trying to. That's all that was salvaging our season. That's gone now. There is no excuse in these 7 games, now 6, not to try something different. Otherwise, what is the point in these games? What is the point?
Exactly.
We don't need to see another 3-6-1 formation in a home match. You know, if we're like using these 6 games now as an opportunity to give guys a run to get themselves a bit more ready for next season, then why are we not doing that? It is simply inexcusable not to be playing the guys that are going to be part of the plans for the years to come. And Aubameyang came on yesterday, made a little bit of an impact, but I don't want to see Aubameyang. I don't want to see Ziyech. I don't want to see Pulisic. I don't want to see these guys that have got no future at this club, because it is a complete waste of time playing them, because we've got absolutely zero to play for now and they're not contributing anything. They're on the beach. They're just picking up their wages. They don't want to be here. We need to field a team of guys that A, want to be here, B, are part of the club's future plans, and then go from there. Otherwise, these 6 games are utterly pointless. And there is absolutely zero excuse for Lampard to be picking a side that does not contain Mudryk from the off, that does not contain Madueke, at least in the squad, that doesn't have Enzo playing, that doesn't have Chukwuemeka at least in the squad. I mean, what's happened to Chukwuemeka? I wasn't expecting him to, like Thomas Tuchel back in the summer when we signed him, said Carney's going to be ready for the first team squad. He's going to feature in the first team squad. We've barely seen him. We have barely seen him. I don't know what the reasonings are behind that, but at the end of the day, we've got an almost unique opportunity where we're not playing for anything now. We're not going to go down, despite people liking to talk about that. We're not going to go down. But you know, we've got an opportunity now to look towards next season and start thinking about next season now by playing the players that are going to be here and deserve to be here. That's what made me even more annoyed with the lineup last night. Not the fact that it was absolutely criminal, but the fact that like there was nothing different and no one was featuring really. That's going to be, you know, that we need to find out a little bit more about. It's inexcusable in my opinion to have done that
as well. Yes,
I don't understand that. Yeah. I don't understand what he has to do to get back into the line. But I also don't get, and look, Lampard's come in, he's doing us a favour per se, but he's also doing it for his own benefits. If he does well, then it puts him back in the shop window also. But I don't understand how you can have a week to prepare for this game. Look at the squad you've got at your disposal. The money we've invested in wide players. We've got a lot of wide players. How you can look at look at that in training. Look what we've got available. Look at Brentford, and think at home the way to go is to play a system that has one attacking player on the pitch and that utilizes no wingers. Like how have they come to that conclusion? That's the right way to go. It's like they thought we were playing Real Madrid again or something. I could understand. I was feeling with it against Madrid, but I could understand it to a certain extent. But against Brentford at home in the Premier League, Brentford hadn't won in their last 6 games. Yeah. And we're showing them that much respect. And as EPL Turs put in the chat, Thomas Frank said after the game that he was surprised by how much respect we showed them. We showed them way too much respect. What are we doing?
It's just, honestly, I can't think of any reasoning to it. Like, generally can't. Like, there's no sort of getting back from that in terms of Lampard picking the lineups. It's just, like, we were obviously the first game against Wolves, we could kind of understand why he picked those formations. Like, obviously, you don't agree with the back four, but you can kind of see, okay, let's that's Lampard's favorite formation, the 4-3-3. Fair enough. Afterwards, he acknowledged it wasn't good enough, but putting these lineups out, like especially Brentford at home, it's just like, I honestly can't think of anything to justify it at all.
But I think it's the worst lineup I've seen this season.
Yeah, it has to be. I know Newcastle away was bad, but this was
but this is the worst though. This is hands down the worst. The situation we're in, the fact we're at home, we're against Brentford, who haven't won in 6 games. That is unforgivable to put out a lineup like that. I'm like, that might sound harsh, but it is unforgivable in my opinion. Unforgivable.
And it's like, I think Kante in the front three as well. It's like, what the hell's that about as well?
The amount of times I seen Kante last night popping up in the right wing, putting crosses into the box. That's not him. That's not where we want Kante. Like, why is Kante playing a supporting role to the attack? I just don't understand it at all. The only credit I'll give Lampard last night is that he realised at half time that he'd fucked it and he got it wrong and he made some changes. And for the first 10, 15 minutes in the second half, we looked much, much better than we did in the first half. Admittedly, not difficult, but at least he had the know-how to accept that he'd made a mistake and he changed it at half time. Still unacceptable, but I will give him that he made the changes that had to be made. But
I think players have to take accountable as well. As well as Lampard, obviously. Like, a lot of the flack's on him, but at the same time, you just know that these players are not motivated for the rest of the season. Like, even against Madrid, you can I know obviously there was a chance to go through, but even then there was no fight, no passion, no sort of desire, no spirit to want to win the game. And it's clearly you can see like these players are just waiting for pre-season, to be honest, or waiting for whatever, like a transfer out of the club, or just wanted just some chill out time. That's it.
I honestly don't know what they're doing. What's even more mad is that when Lampard was asking a press conference before the game, are we going to see more of the likes of Mudryk, Madueke, etc.? He said, "Oh, if they deserve it." So if those guys don't deserve it, I would love to know what the team that started have done to deserve to start.
Yeah, 100%. Like, when I saw those quotes, I was like, I definitely don't want to as in what I'm saying is, do you know those quotes that you just said about Mudryk and Madueke, what Lampard said, like, I was just like baffled. I was like, okay, there's no way that they're going to start a game for us this season, probably, because he clearly doesn't rate them for whatever reason, or there's clearly something in training he doesn't like, and it's just whatever.
Yeah, I mean, these are the stats of Lampard's reign so far. They make pretty harrowing reading. That should pop up on the screen in a sec. Yeah, there we go. 5 games, 5 losses, 9 goals conceded, 1 goal scored. Just a solitary goal, that deflected Conor Gallagher strike against Brighton, which is actually our April goal of the month, because we've got no more games this month because we don't play this weekend. So, yeah, that's the April goal of the month. That's our only goal this month. Mate, did you expect it to be this bad when Lampard took over? I mean, I don't think any of us were expecting miracles, but that's horrendous.
Honestly, I didn't. Like, I thought at least I knew things wouldn't improve drastically, but I thought at least we get a couple of wins under our belt, like especially against yesterday's game, beating Brentford, and especially against sort of Wolves as well. I thought we would have beaten them at least, but and the funny thing is, like, I go back to the formation we played. Like, you'd expect some clean sheets or less goals, but we conceded 9 goals. Like, even Potter wasn't playing these formations, and we somehow forked out a few clean sheets. So, yeah, I just don't even know. And the 1 goal scored is not surprising with the lineups that Lampard's put out, to be honest. Like, that hasn't shocked me at all. Obviously,
not,
yeah, go on, sorry, mate.
Sorry, no, carry on, mate.
No, I was just saying, like, even when we've sort of, if it's it's understandable if you have the amount of attackers on the pitch to score goals and you see one goal scored, then you'd be sort of surprised. But when you only have one attacker out there, like that stat just does not surprise me. And then I get Raheem Sterling. Like a lot of people might not like Raheem Sterling, but what do you expect him to do when he's by himself as an attacker? You can't do it.
And we're putting balls into the box, and there's no one there. Like Enzo, I was watching it last night. Enzo is picking up the ball in midfield. How is he meant to play any forward passes when there's literally nothing ahead of him? You're trying to pick out Sterling against two big centre halves. Like how is that ever working?
He's the only positive. That's it.
It just simply isn't working. Like I just don't get it at all. I really don't. And you know, I don't want to go back to Potter because it's been and done. It's gone now. But at least under him, despite the fact that the results were awful and it didn't look like we were improving, or it didn't look we weren't improving. But the one thing you can say is that we actually were creating a lot more chances than we'd created before. Now, since Potter's gone, like, you know, the chances we're creating in games now are so minimal. We're creating hardly any chances now. In these last 5 games, you could probably count on like it's less. I reckon we created less than 10 decent opportunities in these in the 5 games that Lampard's been here. There's been next to no chances.
Yeah, yesterday, like apart from the Aubameyang shot, do you remember any chances?
Yeah, but there's all tame efforts. There was like a header from Thiago Silva in the first half, I think, from a corner, which was just straight at David Raya. Mate, apart from tame shots, we didn't do anything to force Raya to make a save.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that Aubameyang chance is the only chance that I could sort of think of where.
And he slipped and basically like made a bit of a meal of it anyway. So there was nothing really that we could do about it.
Exactly.
I'm just going to get to a few things in the chat. Lampard out. Yeah, I was Lampard out last night. Still am. It's not going to do it. It's not changing anything. So it kind of is. It is what it is. Last night was an absolute disgrace to start. Yep, it was. I still can't get my head around it. I really can't. It's literally like we were just playing, as you said, mate. We were playing for a goalless draw against Brentford at home, and if we could nick something from a set piece, then we take it. Like that was a lineup to say we don't want to win this game.
Yeah,
that's the message that I was getting from that. Sky Sports reporting today that Lampard is expected to stay until the end of the season. I don't think that's anything groundbreaking. He's not going to go. Who like if we got rid of him, like who's going to suddenly come in at short notice for 6 or for 5 games or whatever? It's not happening. As much as like certain people would like it to happen, and he's been an absolute disgrace. Like he's not going anywhere. It's been worse than Potter. 100% agreed. I think it has. Not that that's like a ringing endorsement, but it has been worse. I don't think there's any two ways about it. The only thing is that the only thing that's saving Lampard is the fact that he's been a legend here as a player. The performances have been worse than Potter. If this was anyone else, they'd be getting hammered. But because it's Lampard, he's not getting a free pass, but he's coming in for a lot less criticism because of what he's done in his playing days.
And he's not going to be here next season, so
and he's not going to be here next season. So it's almost looking at it as like Lampard's doing us a favour by coming in to take this. And even if he does shit and wins no games, he's not here next season anyway. So it's almost like a free hit for him. Obviously, he's kind of putting his reputation through the floor at the moment, but it's almost a win-win. It's almost a can't lose for him because the fans aren't really going to batter him because they know that he's just going in 6 games' time anyway. Yeah. Some love for you in the chat, mate.
Big up Zula.
What else we got going on here? Mudryk does need to start every game. I was told that by supporting Potter, I was lowering standards of the club. Now we are losing without shots on fucking target. Yeah, look, people love to throw this standards thing around, and the standards at Chelsea have always been to win and to have the best in class, have the best players and whatnot, and those standards remain. But what doesn't remain is the fact that we are not in a situation where we can reach those standards. That doesn't mean the standards have lowered or the standards have changed. We just aren't in a position to reach those standards right now, and that's what people are struggling to differentiate between. We're not in a position to be reaching the standards that we've set for ourselves, and who knows when we're going to be back in that position to do so. It could be a number of years. I really don't know. I would have walked out this. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, mate, I was no, I wouldn't have done that, but I can't lie and say it didn't cross my mind when the lineup dropped. I was like, yeah, I might just hop on the tube home. But nah, I can't do that. As bad as it's been this season, I'll always stay to the end until the last player's left the pitch because I just do. I sometimes question myself why I do that, but I just stay till the last guy comes off the pitch. Chicklemaker has been treated disgustingly yet. The reason for this is because Lampard is basically trying to go for big energy in his lineups and just hoping that just by having loads of energy that we might be able to just do something rather than actually picking a team that's set up to win a game of football. We're just picking a team that's going to be fit per se. I mean, he's saying that the guys weren't fit. I mean, you play runners like Kante and Kante and Gallagher. Gallagher was subbed at half time, so I'm not really sure what the issue was there. But yeah, the reason he's doing these kind of lineups is because he's going for that energy first approach, which it's not going to win you games. Like, you've got to actually have a tactical plan. You've got to be decent on the ball. It's no point just putting a load of like guys that run around on the pitch with no end products. That's not going to cut it. So
it's a bit like Anthony Gordon as well for Everton when he was there. Like, Lampard really liked Gordon as a player as well, and obviously with Mason Mount in the past, and now he's found Gallagher, obviously. So
yeah, I think probably Gallagher's probably replaced Mount at the moment for Lampard as the new son because he's out injured. If Potter had a clinical striker, maybe, but I think you could say that for a number of previous Chelsea managers. But I think that's a fair point. I do think that's a fair point. It's funny how all these players have suddenly picked up injuries after the Madrid game. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of players out now. There's no Havertz last night. Cucurella's out for 2 weeks, I think. Lampard said picked up a thigh injury in training. Mate, these guys are all on the beach. Like, I don't want to accuse players of not trying, but it's hard not to come to that conclusion when you see the performances that are put in on the pitch week in, week out. It really is difficult to do that. Do I regret saying no way we are going to get worse if we sack Potter? Well, yeah, I don't regret saying it, but it's unfortunate that I've been proven wrong in my assertions. I mean, I don't even remember saying that, but yeah, I mean, it sounds like something I probably would have said, but I don't.
Me too, bro. Me too. I probably definitely said that as well.
Bro, I don't recall when I said that. Mate, do you think Lampard's tarnishing his legacy? I would say not.
That's a good question.
In terms of like his playing legacy and his status at the club will never be in denial. That will never change from a playing perspective. But I don't know if people are harboring resentment towards him for how this spell is going. I'm personally not. Like, even if Lampard loses every single game, which I think is very possible, I still don't think it's going to tarnish his reputation or his standing with the fans. But I can understand maybe why people might think that way. But what he's done as a player here, forever indebted to him. Like, he'll always be a legend. He'll always be welcome at Chelsea.
I think it all depends as well, like how you sort of see Frank Lampard as a person as well, in terms of what sort of generation you sort of been brought up in, whether that's in the 90s or late 2000s. If obviously people who are teenagers, they're probably less like sort of affectionate towards Lampard because they might not remember him as a player that much, and more so the manager. But I guess me and you obviously will like think of Lampard as a player, not the manager. So for me, I don't think he's tarnished the legacy. I still love the guy. He's probably my favorite ever Chelsea player, and let's be real with it. Even with, we know he's not a good manager, but him coming to the job, there was always problems before that. I know he's made it worse, but it's not all his fault.
No, it's not all his fault. I do totally agree with that. What else we got in here? Is Raheem Sterling our worst signing of the season based on expectation?
I think so. Go for it.
Yeah, mate. Sorry, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say I thought it was a terrible signing because it's not. It wasn't a terrible signing at the time. I would have preferred Gabriel Jesus, but they went with Sterling. I think Tuchel really wanted Sterling. My issue with Sterling is that he's come to Chelsea. He says he wants to be the main man. He's on like main man money. I think he's the best paid player at the club, or the second best. He's in the top two, over 300k a week. When you come in and you say that thing and you're on that sort of money, you cannot put in the level of performances that he's put in. And it's not solely on him. The team, I don't think, set up to get the best out of him. But every time you step on that pitch, you've got to show a lot more than he's showing. So I think with expectation to price, I think it's impossible to argue otherwise that he's not been the worst signing we've made this season.
Yeah, I think the key thing in that sort of question that Assad put is based on expectation. Like my expectation of Raheem Sterling was like I genuinely thought he'd be, I think, one of the signings of the seasons, not even just for Chelsea in the Prem. I thought he was a no-brainer, experience, one of the only few wingers who's got over 100 goals in the Premier League. I thought this was going to be a really, really good signing. I thought he'd be that sort of Hazard-esque type sort of player. I know obviously Hazard was way more technical, way more better, but I thought he'd be that kind of player where he'd draw defenders, create something out of nothing as well. It was sort of more the Sterling from Liverpool and early City days. But yeah, I think based on expectation, he's definitely the worst signing, in my opinion anyway, because I had really high hopes of Sterling.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. Lampard broke a lot of Chelsea fans' heart with that lineup. No one was expecting that, but also no one was expecting us to win either. So, I mean, yeah, the lineup was an absolute disgrace. But even if we put out a lineup that we would have liked to have seen, were we really going to win that match? No, of course we won. That's kind of just where we are. But it doesn't excuse the fact that he put that out. Do you know what's mad, right? Is in the best we've looked tactically in a game since Potter left was that one against Liverpool with Bruno. We actually looked quite well drilled then. Since then, it's just been an absolute disaster.
Yes, it's mad. It's crazy.
It is mad. Yes, big up. Dead in the water. Thanks for tuning in as always, mate. Really appreciate it. Mate, respectfully, Chelsea fanatic, we were thanks for tuning in, mate. Big up, appreciate it. We were never going to go for Smith and Terry. That wasn't an option. So yeah, look, that's kind of been and gone now. I mean, for me, it's a shame that JT is not part of the staff here, but he's not part of Lampard's coaching staff. Not because he doesn't like him, but because Lampard's got his coaching team and JT is not part of it. And whether we agree or disagree with that, that's the reality of the situation. JT has always been a Dean Smith guy in terms of he did his number 2 stuff there with Dean Smith at Villa. And I think that opportunity to go to Leicester with Dean Smith and do the same again was one that he couldn't turn down. So yeah, I don't resent that in any way at all.
Isn't Dean Smith permanent? Isn't he?
No, they're interim. They're interim till the end of the season.
Oh right. Oh, okay. I assumed Dean Smith was there permanently. Okay, fair.
No, just till the end of the season, mate. Not able to decide. Southampton game was more sad to me. I mean, yeah, it's hard to pick a low point in this season, but it's pretty easy. It's pretty easier to pick a high point than it is to pick a low point because there's not been that many. There's not been that many there.
Yeah.
No, mate. I'm not one of these guys. Mate, I'll always like go whether it's good or whether it's shit. Like you don't just turn up when things are going well. Like you've got if you're going to support, whether it's good times, whether it's bad times. You know that's the whole point of it. You don't just chuck the towel in when things aren't going well. So
Charlie will be there when we're in the Championship, lads.
Mate, even if we're in the Championship, guys, mate, whatever league we're in, I will always be there. You know, and I'll stay until the end. That's the way it is. It's pub team tactics. Just shows you, Lampard's. We know this. Look, it is what it is. We knew that Lampard was not going to come in and improve us. I just think we thought that we might get a bit more out of him. We just haven't. By the way, guys, let's get this up to 20 likes at minimum at the moment. Guys, we're on 17. There's more than enough of us in here, so keep smashing that like button. Let's get that to 20 likes. Let's get that up to 30 people. So if you're locked in now and you've not smashed the like, guys, it massively helps me out. Just click that like button, and I'll be really appreciative if we can get this to 30 likes, guys. We've got 11 likes to go. Let's try and get this to 30 likes as our next target. So keep smashing those likes and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. On the road to 3,000 subscribers, looking to get there by the end of the season. So every new subscriber helps, guys. And also, whilst I'm on a bit of a promo thing, you can also check out the match vlog from last night. Another depressing performance as we're discussing now. But head over to the channel, check out the vlog after we've wrapped up here, and smash a like on that as well. But let's get this to 30 likes, people. Let's keep it moving. What else we got going here? When do you think Pochettino will be done deal? I don't know. Maybe this week? No, I don't think this week. Maybe over the weekend or early next week potentially. But to be honest, I haven't really got any idea.
I think next week, bro. I think by
I would say next week probably. I'd be surprised if it's not, I'd like to think we might get an agreement by the time we play Arsenal on Tuesday.
You might be there. You might be in attendance to watch the game at Arsenal.
Well, mate, if he's unveiled, then yeah, for sure. I think that's a possible. But yeah, mate, back to the game itself. Obviously, what did you make of Lampard's comments after the game? I couldn't get my head around them. And I was thinking, like, if Graham Potter had said the things that Lampard had said after the game, he would have been getting hammered. Like, the one that got me the most was, if we had 20% more confidence, we would have won that game. What does that mean? Like, how are we quantifying, like, what percentage of confidence we're at? And if we had 20% more, whatever that looks like, then we would have won. Like, I just don't get that. Like,
where's he got 20% from?
I don't understand those comments at all. I really didn't get that. I mean, mate, what did you think of his post-match comments? I mean, I know he speaks well and he says the right things, but I actually don't care. I'm sick of listening to this. As I said at the top of the show, I want to see tangible improvements on the pitch. At least like some basic tactics, some basic patterns of play, and some basic ideas of playing football, of which we're seeing none. I mean, mate, did the comments from Lampard last night annoy you? Because they annoyed me. I just didn't get it at all.
Yeah, it just sounds like a guy who just doesn't know what he's doing, and he's kind of low-key giving up on the pitch. I know obviously his pride and passion is there for the club, but you can just tell he's just given up. Like, he just doesn't know what to do, and he's just out of his depth. He's just that quote you mentioned about 20% confidence is like I honestly don't know what to say to that. Just whatever.
I don't know where that's coming from. This is another stat that's quite harrowing for us as fans. Since Thomas Tuchel left, Chelsea have lost 11 of their 26 Premier League games since Tuchel departed, so 7 wins, 8 draws. As many as they lost in their 63 games under the German between January 21 and September 22. So we've lost 11 of the 26 matches since Tuchel left. Do you know what's mad, right? Is that the 11 points that we got under Tuchel at the start of this season, if you were to take those away, we'd be on 28 points and we'd be in the relegation zone.
That just sums it up, bro.
Since Tuchel's left, we have been in relegation form.
Yeah, it's true. Even looking at the form table, man, all I just see is L's, D's, L's. There's no W's anywhere. Like, it's just that's just a new low for us. Like, it's the proof's there. Without Tuchel, we'd be in the relegation zone. We'd be level on points with Everton.
Yeah, we'd be on 28 points. I mean, how mad is it that realistically, since Tuchel got us 11 points, so Potter came in September and we must have been on 11 points when he took over. Surely, because Tuchel got us 11 points, so he must have been on 11 points. So since September, all right, there's been a month's break for the World Cup, but since September, we've added 28 points to our season.
It's not good enough for Chelsea Football Club. Not good enough at all. That's no process.
We're not going to go down, and I'm not going to sit here and like say it for whatever reason. Of course, we're not going down. But the fact of the matter is that we are in relegation form, and the only thing that's saving us from not going down is not because we're going to pick up the points to keep us up. It's because the teams below us are even worse somehow. That's the only reason, because they're not going to pick up the points required to overhaul us. That is the only reason we're not going to go down.
We're quite fortunate in the sense that like every sort of team below us plays each other.
Exactly.
Over the next few weeks, that's it. Because the relegation battle is just so tight. Like down the bottom, it's like 1 week, one team goes up to like 15th. Then if they lose a game, they drop down all the way to 18th. And we're just fortunate in that way that there's so many teams in there. And like I'm sure we won't get relegated, but at the same time, like we just have to at least win one game, man, just to like cement the place in the Premier League. It's like
I can't see where any wins are coming from. The only games that I'd have down as potential wins would be Forest at home and maybe Bournemouth away.
Same.
Maybe we might win one of those, but like I can't see it happening.
I
cannot see it happening. I really can't. But yeah, I mean, it is a madness. It really is an absolute madness. I mean, mate, what do you think of the game itself, though? I mean, there's not too much to discuss from a Chelsea perspective because we were awful. But I mean, when your luck's out, your luck's out. I mean, that first Brentford goal, deflection from the set piece, own goal, and then the second goal. You know, even in the second, mate, do you know what's mad is, right? I know we were awful. It wasn't like Brentford were amazing.
No, I was just about to say Brentford went. I didn't think they were that impressive at all. It's just shows how bad we really are. That Brentford didn't really need to turn up. They were probably in like second gear throughout the whole game, and they obviously got their win and stuff. Like, yeah, the performance was just flat from us. Like, just same old, really.
Yeah, mate, it was an absolute joke. Yeah, I don't know where we go from here, mate. Let's throw it forwards. Kind of Pochettino. We presume he's going to come in and whatnot. What do you think's the What do you think's the biggest thing that he's got? The single biggest thing that he's got to sort out first. For me, it's got to be the squad size. You've got to trim the squad down to a workable size.
Yeah, 100%. He has to identify what kind of players he wants to keep, which ones he wants to sell. That's the first thing, and then obviously go to the recruitment team, see what players he wants to bring in as well, because that's going to be a factor as well. Obviously, we're all hoping Harry Kane decides to come to us. Whether that happens or not is a big question.
Never happen, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, one can hope, right? But with Poch, they never say never. But yeah, that's the other thing as well. I implement a style of play as well. Regardless of which players he uses, has to be backed in the summer. But yeah, Pochettino's got a lot to do. But I didn't expect us to stay where we are. But at the same time, I do expect us to improve a little bit. Whether that's we finished in the Europa League spots next season, that'll be progress for me, in my opinion, with the manager that we've got coming in and how we've sort of done this season. Like, I fully expect us to finish 5th or 6th next season. Like, obviously, if we want to finish higher, we obviously want to win the league eventually. But let's be real about it; it's not going to happen. And I don't think
we've got to take small steps, mate. And like, I think the reality is we're not going to be playing any European football next season. I think that's yeah. I mean, obviously mathematically it's still possible for us to. We're not going to pick up the required points to play any European football next season. And when we're playing once a week, there really is. I know we're terrible right now, but there's no excuse for us not to be pushing the top 5, top 6 positions next season.
Exactly. And the team strengthening as well is going to be hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Problem is, though, because we're so low at the moment, teams that are well clear of us right now, they're going to strengthen again as well. There's going to be no guarantees that we're going to finish ahead of Newcastle next season.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think the problem now is as well with the top 4. You knew that the top 4 was always very set. You knew that it used to always be us, City, and United, or us, United, and Arsenal would always finish in the top 4. Then City had their time, and then Liverpool had their moment. But now there's legitimately 6, 7, maybe even 8 teams that are capable of finishing in those top 4 positions.
Yeah,
and that makes it so much harder. Obviously, I think next season, if you finish 5th, you go in the Champions League as well. But even then, that doesn't make it any easier. Yeah, there's an extra position, but it's the strength and depth in the Premier League now is huge. Like,
it's massive.
It's going to be really difficult. But yeah, I agree, mate, that in terms of what we've got here, Chelsea fanatic, even Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest will be tough because they are fighting relegation. Yeah, I would agree that Brentford was the easiest game because Brentford are quote unquote on the beach in terms of they've got nothing to play for. Yeah, not quite true. They've got some European aspirations. Whether they've got enough to get there or not, whether that 6-game run without a win is kind of cost them. But in theory, that was our easiest game left because everyone else we're playing is fighting for something.
Yeah, it's true because Brentford obviously played more games than like Brighton and I think Villa as well. Like Villa and Brighton are probably the only sort of teams apart from the usual lot that are sort of fighting for something in that position. Obviously, Fulham are probably not going to. Well, they're definitely not going to make sort of Europa League positions or Conference League. Brentford as well. They're a bit behind as well. So yeah, I was talking to a few Brentford fans last week when I was playing footy. Like they were just saying like before the game they were like, I don't expect us to win because we're basically on the beach. We're chilling for next season. Like we're not really focused on the season anymore. We've had our sort of like a good season where we finished in the top 10. That's enough for us. And then I was like, nah, no chance. I think you'll definitely beat us next week for sure. Like we're so easy to play against. And it showed yesterday.
Everyone wants to play us.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. Like
I don't blame it at all, mate. We're the easiest team to play at the moment.
Exactly. It's just too easy, man.
Like we're basically a guaranteed 3 points.
For everyone.
That's what we are. We're guaranteed 3 points every week for whoever fancies playing us. If you need 3 points, come on over, guys. No problem.
Apart from Arsenal, forget Arsenal.
But that's my point. It's like Arsenal haven't won in their last 4 games now. We play them next. They'll probably hammer us. It's just the way it's going. But it's a really tough time right now. As we were saying on Poch, like if he comes in, then we've got to give him. He's got to shape that squad, and he's got to have the power to do it on his own. Of course, I'm not suggesting that he's going to pick all the signings. There will be some quote unquote club signings, if you want to call it that. He'll be recommended players by the recruitment department. And whatnot, and from the data and stuff, and he might okay some of them, he might not, but he's not going to have full control of transfers, I wouldn't have thought. But I think there's a realization that there's definitely certain positions that are non-negotiable, whoever the manager is. We need a 6, we need a goalkeeper, we need a centre forward. Anything else then, if whatever Poch wants, give it to him, because we've got to set him up to have the best opportunity of succeeding in this job. And that means he needs to get rid of the players that he wants to get rid of. The squad needs to be trimmed down. I'll tell you one thing for certain is, mate, these guys, if Lampard's saying they're not fit now, they'll be fit under Pochettino. Poch took over at Southampton, made them made them the fittest team, and made them the team in the league that covered the most distance comfortably. He then left Southampton to go to Tottenham. Tottenham were down the bottom in terms of distance covered. He went there. They were then the top side for distance covered in the league. These guys, Chelsea, if Poch takes over, which it looks like he will, these guys have got a tough pre-season coming up, because Poch will not accept us fucking about and not getting around the pitch. We'll be right up there in terms of distance covered stats, and that can only be a good thing. We have to give him, we have to allow him to do what he's got to do. And as fans as well, we can't just get on his back the instant something goes wrong, because that really isn't helpful.
100%.
Things are going to go wrong. We're not suddenly going to win loads of matches next season. I'd like to think we win more matches than we have this season, but everything's not going to suddenly be amazing. There's no instant success in football. Unless a team is set up ready to win already, it's very hard to come into a mess and suddenly make it an instant success. Yes, you can demand improvements, etc., and you would expect improvements. Of course you would. But at the same time, it's unrealistic to suddenly expect us. Like, we can want and demand to finish top 4, top 5 next season. That's a massive ask from where we are right now. Mate, do you think? I don't even think that's realistic. Even playing once a week, you'd say there's no excuse not to. I think it's a massive ask for us to finish top 5 next season.
Yeah. My expectation for next season is obviously if we can go on a good cup run in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, and then I guess finish in the top 6. Realistically, obviously the ambition is to finish top, but let's we're a million miles behind Manchester City, man. We got them coming up as well. They'll probably batter us. But yeah, that's my expectation for next season. With 1 game a week, we should be making top 6 minimum and go on a good cup run. To be honest, yeah, we did last season. That's got to be the aim. I think with no European football, you've got the domestic cups have got to be taken really seriously, because other than the league, that's all we're playing for. Yeah, I say that's all we're playing for, but you've got to do something, haven't you? There's got to be something there. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. I think he will do a good job, but he's got to be given the patience. He's got to be backed, and I've got no doubt he'll be backed in terms of financially backed. He's got to be allowed to have the power and to shape what he wants to do. But I think a big plus for Pochettino is that he is going to be allowed to do what he wants to do, because arguably we need him more than he needs us. He's taken a massive gamble by putting his reputation at stake by coming to Chelsea. We are more desperate for him than he is for us. And I think we have to realise that this is a gamble for him. We're desperate for him, and he doesn't need us, whereas we need him. I think is basically what I'm trying to say. Yes, big up Pez Lord. Yeah, Madueke looked decent. I don't know why he's not featured recently. He wasn't amazing, but he looked bright, and he needs more minutes. Simple as that. What we got here? Can't see anyone doing anything with our lot at the moment. They're fucked off. Yeah, we've got to work on the fitness levels. Everything's got to be worked on. So from top to bottom, we're an absolute mess, and that's got to be dealt with. Let's get into some player ratings then, guys. Guys in the chat, feel free to get involved as well. Keep smashing the likes on the stream. We're not quite at the 30 likes yet, guys, so keep hitting the like button. 5 or 6 away now, so that can easily be done before this stream is out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already. And also feel free to donate via the super chat function as well if you are feeling generous today, guys. It would be greatly appreciated by myself. Let's get amongst it then, mate. Starting with Kepa in goal.
I didn't really think there was anything he could do about either goal, if I'm being honest. The own goal, it's deflected, nothing he can do. Second goal, I was down the other end and I've not watched it back, so I didn't want to put myself through that again.
It's a deflection, yeah.
It's another deflection, is it? So he couldn't really do anything about either goals. Yeah, there was a few moments where his distribution wasn't great. I actually don't think he had a bad game yesterday, because outside of that, he didn't really have any saves to make.
Yeah, I'd probably give him a 5, to be honest. Just average. Like, distribution was off again. Yeah, could do nothing but the goals. Yeah, just give him a standard 5, to be honest. That's it. Not much to say on Kepa. We both have our thoughts on Kepa anyway. Like,
yeah, ultimately not good enough. But yeah, I think a 5 is fair. By the way, man, what did you think of David Raya last night? I mean, we didn't really test him. I don't really think there was. I mean, Chelsea have been linked with him as a move. I'm still unsure on whether he's a significant upgrade on what we've got and whether he would be a long-term number one goalkeeper. But I mean, what were your thoughts on him? I mean, he didn't really have too much to do.
Yeah, decent. Distribution was pretty good, I thought. Commanding at times as well. I thought he was pretty decent. I think he's a tad little bit better than Kepa. I think. I know obviously there's that sort of limit with both of them, but I do think David Raya is a little bit of an upgrade to Kepa. And yeah, I thought he was okay. I thought he did well.
I just don't think it's the upgrade that we need or that we're looking for.
Yeah, so like he's not like Ter Stegen levels, but I think he's definitely like 1 or 2 tiers below them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much between him and Kepa. It's not the upgrade we're looking for. We're going to be upgrading the goalkeeper position. That's for sure. Let's move on to Fofana. I thought, along with Silva and Kante, probably one of the only few players that could come away with some sort of credit from yesterday. I thought he defended reasonably well. He gets up the pitch where he tries to contribute to the attacking phases of play. I think he's going to be a really good player for us in years to come. I thought this wasn't bad from him. It wasn't spectacular by any means, but he certainly wasn't one of the worst.
Yeah, he's done well this season. Like, he's one of the only players I could say that's probably done well this season. Yeah, rating for yesterday, I thought he could have done a little bit better for the goal. In my opinion, for the second goal, I think he let Mbeumo cut in too easily. There, could have done a little bit better for it, I thought. But with his age as well, he's still developing as well. Like, he's only 2021, so
yeah, he's still a young kid.
I'll probably give him a 6, to be honest.
Yeah, I think a 6 is probably fair, and he's going to be a mainstay of this defence for many years to come, and he'll continue to improve a lot as well. I don't think there's any doubt about that either. Let's move on to Thiago Silva in the middle. You know what you're going to get from Silva. I thought he was good last night, not like exception or anything, but I don't think he made any mistakes. I don't think he did anything wrong. And fair play to him. I know it's not all about this, but he's always the last player off the pitch. He goes around and he claps every side of the stadium before he leaves the pitch. Always the last one to leave the pitch. And you know, if the squad had half of his leadership abilities, half of his care, then perhaps we wouldn't be in this mess. But yeah, what were your thoughts on his game? I personally probably give him a 6.5. Wasn't like an amazing game, but he certainly didn't let himself down or let the team down. That's for sure.
Yeah, just a standard Thiago Silva performance. I thought he did. He's done well since coming back from injury as well. Unfortunately, we got him next season. It'll be interesting to see how Poch possibly uses him next season. Yeah, I'd agree with you with 6.5. I thought that's probably the highest rate I'll probably go with this lineup. I think 6.5.
Yeah, I think a 6.5 is probably fair. Let's move on to Chalobah, mate. I don't know why Badiashile can't get in the team. Like, we knew Brentford were going to be difficult from set pieces. They're a big side, and we leave our tallest centre back on the bench. I didn't really understand that. Mate, are you surprised that Badiashile is not really getting much game time at the moment?
Yeah, it's a bit concerning considering we signed him in January, and I honestly don't think he's done anything wrong for us. Like, there's a couple of mistakes here and there, but he looks a good player. And like you said about the aerial threat that Brentford posed, like in both boxes, like we needed Badiashile for yesterday because Brentford are a very physical team with Tony, a few of their centre backs as well. They're massive units, man. So yeah, I just don't know what Badiashile can do to get back in the team. I don't know if he'll start against Arsenal or not. Highly doubt it. But yeah, rating for Chalobah.
Do you think he had a good game, Chalobah?
just think he was average. I think there was a couple of mistakes here and there. Passes were here and there, but I think he is playing kind of out of position as well. He's not really left-sided centre back, so
No.
I'll probably give him a 4.5 or a 5, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say, I'd give him an average 5. I mean, I don't think the defence was actually that bad yesterday. It just, it's an own goal and a deflected strike. I mean, yeah, it wasn't great. Let's move on to Azpilicueta. I mean, I think we love him for what he's done, but respectfully, in 2023, you cannot be starting with Azpilicueta in your team at right wing back.
Yeah,
he's just knackered. He can't get up and down the pitch like he used to. It's almost unfair to ask him to play that role. Like, what are we expecting? He's not got it in him anymore to contribute in the way that we need him to contribute. And rightfully subbed at halftime. I thought he was terrible yesterday.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. Why doesn't Ruben start? If obviously we know Reece James isn't going to be part of the season, this season, like the remainder of the season, why doesn't Ruben Loftus-Cheek start at right wing back or right mid? It's baffling to me. Like, Aspie's done. Like, respectfully, I hope he goes next season. Just he needs to be sold. And obviously got that own goal as well. I know it's obviously a little bit unlucky.
There wasn't much he could do about it. But
he wasn't good. I'll probably give him a 1 if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, he was pretty poor. Only players that deserve paying this. Yeah, agreed. Why did Aspie give a corner so easily yesterday? Going to kick the ball for corner because I don't know what he's going to do. But yeah, he was awful yesterday. And yeah, he does need to leave in the summer. Respectfully, he's got to go. Let's move to Chilwell on the other side. Obviously back in the side after suspension against Real Madrid. He got forward well at times. I don't think he was that great, mate, yesterday. He wasn't terrible, but I just thought he struggled a bit. I just thought he was average.
Yeah, I mean, I think since that red card against Madrid, I don't think he's been good at all. I think that's kind of
the first time he's played in it since then.
Yeah, yeah, it has, hasn't it? Yeah. I think he's on the beach as well, to be honest. Like,
he signed a new contract. Yeah, there's not really much to play for.
Nothing. Yeah, mate, I'll probably give him a 3, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of low ratings. People were just fucking awful yesterday.
It's justified though.
Yeah, no, it is. Mate, it's more. It is certainly justified. It's just been terrible, mate. Yeah, it's been absolutely
Chilwell's been one of our better players as well. Like,
he has,
season, I think as well. But we have to be real about yesterday. He wasn't good at all.
I'll give him a 3.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Enzo. Subbed again. But again, I think I've seen a stat saying that he made like more kind of passes than anything. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I don't think he was as bad as people might make him out to have been. It wasn't one of his best games for sure. And he did struggle in there, but I did feel a bit sorry for him. Like, what's he supposed to do when he gets the ball? There's nothing to aim for. There's hardly anyone ahead of him. Like, what are we hoping for? I mean, what do you think of him? I mean, I think the last couple of games he's struggled a little bit. He has started every single game since he joined the club in January. And I feel the last 2 games have probably been his 2 worst performances in a Chelsea shirt.
Yeah, like the bar is so high with Enzo. Like, I really rate this guy so much, man. I think he's definitely a superstar that we got in our team, and I just feel sorry for him. Like you said, just has nothing to look ahead to in terms of the attack. Defensively, doesn't get helped out that much as well with his midfield partner or partners. So, and I keep saying he's playing out of position as well. As soon as we sign a proper DM next to him, then we'll see.
He can because he always plays a lot better with a DM. Even if it's in a pivot, he's used to having a defensive midfield player next to him. He's normally got someone next to him. Like, so, yeah. Let's see what happens next season.
I'll give him a 5.
I was thinking maybe a 4.5.
Yeah, that's cool with me as well. Average, isn't it?
Let's move on to Kovacic. Oh, man, I'll be honest, man, I thought he was awful yesterday.
Yeah, terrible.
I can't remember anything he did. Like, what did he do in the game?
This was on par with the Madrid away performance. I thought this was
just non-existent.
Maybe worse. Yeah, if I was to give a rating, I'd give him a 0.
Mate, would you keep him? He's coming up to, I think, either 2 years or 1 year left on his contract in the summer.
Just think it's 1 year, isn't it?
I think it is. I think his contract expires in 2024. So yeah, it would be coming up to 1 year left on the contract this summer. Mate, I'll be honest, I wouldn't keep him.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what? I think it all depends on who we bring in. I think. I think we can't just sell him like that and have not have a replacement. In my opinion, if we have a better replacement, then I say yeah, sell him. We can recoup some of that money. I mean, great servant for the club. He's been one of our most underrated players over the years and stuff. But yeah, maybe now's time to cut ties, to be honest, and you probably want a new challenge as well. So if we can recoup some of that 50 million that we paid for him, then great. But
yeah, I mean, I think we probably get 1 year on the contract. We'd be lucky we'd get between 20 and 30 for him, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's rumors of Inter Milan, not Inter Milan, sorry, Bayern Munich.
Quite possibly.
Tuchel, so
yeah, maybe.
Could go there.
Could potentially go there. I think to yesterday, I think he was poor. I'd probably give him a 2.
Fairs, yeah.
Yeah, I think a 2's fair. Jesus, this front three just like feels criminal just looking at it.
I know.
Like this is so bad. Let's start with Gallagher, mate. Subbed at half time. I actually don't really think he did anything. Just ran about for a bit. Like normally, I've given Gallagher praise when he's done well, but I actually don't think he did anything well yesterday at all. Like he was literally there just for energy, and he just didn't do anything, mate. He just did absolutely nothing.
Nothing to praise. Like you got subbed. He got subbed off at half time.
Yeah,
right?
He was subbed off at half time.
0 for him then. Like he just wasn't good. Did nothing.
He was worse than Aspie.
Yeah, I thought he was genuinely.
Mate, I might give him a 0.5.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, if we get any transfer fee for him, just take it and run. Basically,
we would get. I mean, look, personally for me, it's one of those where you probably keep Gallagher as a squad player, but then you've got the dilemma where he's actually going to be one of the players that's going to get you the highest amount of money in the summer.
Yeah, just sell him. Just get some money in because we're going to need some to raise some funds, aren't we? With all that.
Yeah, I think we need to raise about 100 million.
Yeah, and selling Gallagher will probably be just less than half of that. So.
Yeah, no, I would agree on that. Another terrible game for him, unfortunately. Kante, mate, I thought he was decent last night. Again, asked to fill a role that is not really his natural role. I mean, I don't know why I was seeing him out on the right wing so many times trying to put balls into the box. He gets about. He did his best. What were your thoughts on him, mate? I thought he was good.
Yeah, I mean that's him playing out of position as well. He's literally playing as in the front three, man. It was crazy to see, but we know Kante's not got that ability in the final third. We just know it. Like I know obviously he scores a banger now and then outside the box, but
he's got no finishing ability really.
No, nothing in the final third. One of those positions where Kovacic and Enzo are currently sitting in our screen right now, but yeah. I don't know what to rate him. Maybe
5.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5 or 5.5. Like, yeah,
let's go
for that position as well. Like, like you're being asked to score goals. Obviously, we know Kante can't, but in that position, you have to be scoring goals or creating, and he did none of that. So I'm just basing it.
We didn't do any of that. But I mean, it's ridiculous for Lampard to even try and deploy him in that position. To be real, it's ridiculous. But that's where we are right now. Simple as that. That's exactly where we are. Let's move on to Sterling. He's not been good this season. We touched on him earlier in the show. I do feel a little bit sorry for him in a sense that what were we really expecting him to do in that setup? Like it was almost like he was I feel he was hung out to dry a little bit by Lampard yesterday. He was set up to fail. How is he going to get anything out of that? Where's the service coming from? He's not a physical presence. He's not going to hold the ball up in that situation. I mean, I feel he was set up to fail yesterday, but despite having said that, he still didn't do enough to try and get involved in the game. If we're being honest, he wasn't there as an out ball when people were picking the ball up in midfield. It was just a disaster, really. But I do feel a little bit sorry for him, as I said, for the fact that I feel he was kind of hung out to dry by being asked to play that role.
Yeah, you summed up perfectly there, bro, to be honest, with Sterling, man. Yeah, just Lampard has to change something next game, man. Just play it. I'll stick with the same formation, but just put players in the right place, or just one of those. it's hard to judge Sterling because obviously you expect him to score goals or create something at least a little bit. But obviously he's got no one there to sort of like make sort of links with in the attack. So
yeah,
I'll probably give him a 1. I think.
Yeah, mate, it was peak. I'll be honest, it was.
That's pure in the
was.
base that it's just not his fault that he's playing there.
It's not his fault, but you would expect to see a little bit more from him.
Yeah.
I don't normally do subs because Mudryk and Aubameyang played half a game. Mudryk, we knew this before kickoff. Mudryk has got to start every game for the remainder of the season. I've got no idea why he didn't start each game. That I'm not saying he's like been pulling up trees and he's been unbelievable, but each game you can tell he's getting better. And I thought yesterday was another very positive performance in that second half. He's exciting. He's still raw, but like when he gets the ball, you feel like something's going to happen. And this guy has to play every game for the rest of the season now. There's simply no excuses. I mean, were you impressed by Mudryk? I think he was the only plus, really.
Yeah, he was electric on the pitch. I thought he showed a bit of fight on the pitch as well. Was quick and direct as well, which is needed against a team like Brentford who sit back as well. So Mudryk just playing. Let's hope he gets his first goal against Arsenal, man. Like,
that's the only reason I'm going to Emirates on Tuesday, man. I'm just clinging on to that hope that Mudryk might get one at the Emirates
against Arsenal. Man,
it would be unbelievable and get the Mudryk chant going. I don't even want to allow myself to get excited by it because I'm just going to end up so disappointed. But that would be absolute scenes.
That'll be brilliant. But yeah, he has to start next game, man. Like regardless of the front three positions, he has to start. And rating for yesterday, I'll probably give him only because it was a half. I'll probably give him a 5.5 for yesterday.
Yeah, I might give him a 6, but I'll just star it because it was only a half. Lastly, then, mate, Aubameyang. First time we've seen him since God knows when. I don't think we're going to see many more appearances from him in a Chelsea shirt. It's been a disaster, really, if we're being honest with ourselves here. What did you make of his second half cameo? He had a couple of opportunities, obviously slipped at the crucial moment with one of them. We did look a lot better when they both came on. And I'll be honest, mate, I wouldn't have any issues with Aubameyang starting games. I know I've said that I don't want to see him, but in terms of if Lampard decides to do that based on that second half performance, then whilst I personally might not do it, I could understand why he would do it because he did look lively when he played with Mudryk. It was a focal point out there, a centre forward, but realistically, apart from a couple of shots, I don't think he really offered that much.
Yeah, I mean,
I still think, though. I still think, mate, if you give him opportunities, then he will put one of them away.
Yeah, it's true. Like even showed yesterday, like that chance he had. Like if it was a little bit matched up, I think he would have scored that. And I've been asking Aubameyang to start for ages, man. Like even when Potter was in, I know a lot of people said no, but because of the fact that we knew it was going to be next season. But let's be real about it. Like out of our strikers, he's probably our most clinical striker. And obviously, we need to score goals. That's been a problem for us this season. And yeah, I want to see him start against Arsenal as well. Obviously, like going back to the Emirates, I'm sure he'll have some sort of motivation to get one back on them. Obviously, stop them once and for all from winning the league. I know obviously it's out of their hands now, but yeah, I'd want to see Aubameyang start. And if he was matched up, I think he would have scored a goal yesterday with that chance.
Yeah, quite possibly, mate. I'd probably give him a 5.
A 5 is fair, yeah.
Yeah, I think a 5 is fair for that. Let me just get to the last couple of things in the chat, and then we will round this one out. What rating would you give Lampard? Wouldn't give him 1. Wouldn't give him 1. Not worthy of a rating. Terrible yesterday.
0 for me.
Oba looked fine. There wasn't much space after that first goal. Yeah, he looked fine. There wasn't exactly a lot for him to do. 1-1, 25 minutes to go. The front foot celebration in the Emirates. Oh, stop it. I don't want to think about it. But yeah, seems like a pretty good place to round this one out, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always massively appreciated by myself. Thanks for getting involved in the chat as well, guys. Great to interact with you as always. Make sure on the way out you continue to smash the likes. Let's try and get us to 30 likes before we leave. We've got 6 more to go, guys. So keep smashing those likes. Oh shit! I've misread that so badly. That's 1-1, 25 minutes to go. Barca versus Chelsea, second leg. I thought you were on about Aubameyang coming on with 25 minutes to go, 1-1 at the Emirates. Oh, geez, that's a little bit embarrassing, isn't it? Yeah, no, I've got that now. Yeah, all good.
What's the score in that game? Is it
1-1? I think it's 1-1, so it'll be 2-1 Barca.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, ladies. Make us
proud.
Yeah,
let's see what they can do. I don't know how long's left, but let's see. Oh, 25 minutes to go. Yeah, let's see what they can do. But yeah, guys, good point to round this one out. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, massively appreciate each and every one of you in the chat. On the way out, guys, make sure you smash the likes. Let's get this to 30 likes. And make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already. I will be back on probably Sunday or Monday with a preview for the Arsenal game, trying to work on a couple of guests there. So I will keep you posted on that one. I won't reveal anything yet because there's nothing confirmed, but I'm working on a couple of things. So hopefully we can have a decent match preview for Arsenal. So Sunday or Monday for that one. But until then, guys, make sure you smash the likes, as I said, subscribe to the channel. Big up to you, Dharmesh, as always, bro. Massively appreciated. Guys, make sure you follow Dharmesh on Twitter, linked in the description below and on his display name there as well. You can also follow myself on Twitter on my screen name and linked in the description below. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in as always. Hopefully things will get a bit more positive soon. I don't know when that's going to be. Maybe it won't be this season, but I'll always be here giving my thoughts and bringing you the content. So yeah, stay tuned, people. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Up the Chelsea. Peace out, guys.